The empty chair beside me hurt more than any argument ever could. Lily stood under the bright lights on the school stage, searching the crowd with hopeful eyes. Every few seconds, her smile drifted toward the seat next to mine. It stayed empty. The music started. The children began to sing. My daughter forced herself to smile anyway. I clapped until my hands stung, trying to fill the silence that one missing person had created. It wasn't enough. Months earlier, I would have defended Claire without thinking. She's just busy. Work has been stressful. Things will get better. Those excuses had become part of my daily routine. The truth was much quieter. It looked like cold dinners sitting untouched on our table. It sounded like late-night phone calls ending the moment I walked into the room. It felt like watching my wife laugh at messages on her screen before putting the phone face down whenever I got close. None of those moments looked big enough to destroy a marriage. Together, they slowly did. That morning started with hope. Lily came running into the kitchen wearing her school uniform, almost spilling cereal across the floor. "Daddy, today's the day." "I know." She spun around with both arms stretched wide. "We practiced for 2 whole months. You'll be amazing." Her eyes jumped toward the hallway. "Mom's coming too, right?" Before I could answer, Claire walked downstairs, fastening one earring while checking her phone. She barely noticed breakfast waiting on the table. Lily hurried over. "You promised." Claire looked up and smiled. "I remember. You won't be late? I'll be there before it starts." Lily wrapped her little arms around her waist. "You have to sit beside Daddy." Claire kissed the top of her head. I wouldn't miss it. I wanted to believe those words. So did Lily. The family group chat stayed quiet all afternoon. Around noon, I sent a picture of Lily practicing her lines. "She's excited. See you both tonight. Red heart." The message showed as delivered. Hours passed. No reply. I checked again while finishing work. Still nothing. Claire had read messages from other people. Mine remained untouched. It shouldn't have bothered me as much as it did. But it did. The school auditorium buzzed with excited parents. Children peeked through curtains. Teachers adjusted microphones. Lily squeezed my hand. "Mom's almost here." "I'm sure she is." I kept looking toward the entrance. Every time the door opened, Lily sat up straighter. Every stranger disappointed her. 5 minutes before the show, my phone vibrated. "Claire." I answered immediately. "I'm almost there." A shaky breath came through the speaker. "Ethan." Something in her voice made my stomach sink. Lucas called. I closed my eyes. What happened? His car broke down outside the city. He's alone. So, he needs help. I stared at the empty seat beside me. "Our daughter needs you too." "I know." Another pause. "I'll get there as fast as I can. The show starts in 5 minutes. I can't leave him stranded." The words settled over me like cold rain. "What about Lily?" "I'll explain later." The call ended. Not with an argument. Not with a goodbye. Just gone. The lights dimmed. Parents raised their phones. Children walked onto the stage. Lily stepped into her place. She found me almost immediately. Then her eyes moved to the empty chair. Hope faded slowly. Not dramatically. Not loudly. Just enough for a father to notice. She kept singing. She remembered every line. She even smiled when the audience applauded. But I knew that smile. It was smaller than the one she had practiced at home. After the performance ended, children rushed toward their families. Lily hugged me tightly. "You came. I'll always come." She looked over my shoulder. Maybe Mom got lost. I wanted to protect her from the truth. Instead, I knelt beside her. Something came up. "With work?" "No." She waited. Someone needed her. Lily nodded without another question. Children understand more than adults think. She slipped her small hand into mine. "Can we get ice cream anyway?" A lump formed in my throat. "Absolutely." The house felt colder when we returned. Dinner sat exactly where Claire had left it that morning. The soup had formed a thin skin across the top. The bread had turned hard. Nobody touched any of it. Lily quietly changed into her pajamas. While brushing her hair, she studied herself in the mirror. "Did I sing okay?" "You were the best one there. You don't have to make me feel better." "I'm telling the truth." She smiled a little. "Maybe next time Mom can come." Next time, children always believe there will be another chance. Adults know some moments never return. Claire arrived after 10. The front door clicked open softly. She stepped inside, carrying tired eyes and guilty silence. I'm home. Lily was already asleep. I stayed at the kitchen table. The untouched dinner rested between us. Claire noticed it immediately. You didn't eat? I wasn't hungry. She reached for the pot. I can warm it up. No. Her hand stopped. I'm sorry about tonight. Were you? She lowered her eyes. Lucas really needed. Our daughter needed you. He had nobody else. I couldn't stop myself. Lily had her mother. Claire leaned against the counter. I'll make it up to her. Can you? She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. The distance between us suddenly felt larger than the kitchen itself. I'm exhausted. I can see that. She hesitated before walking upstairs. I listened to every step until the bedroom door closed. Sleep never came. Questions kept replacing each other. Why had Lucas become so important? When had my family started waiting in line behind another man? Around midnight, I noticed Claire's tablet charging beside the couch. A notification flashed across the screen. Lucas. The device had never needed a password before. Neither had our marriage. My thumb hovered over the screen. Part of me wanted to put it back. Another part was tired of living inside comfortable lies. The tablet unlocked. Message after message appeared. Weeks, then months. Late-night conversations. Morning check-ins. Private jokes. Encouragement. Support. Pieces of my wife that I hadn't seen in a long time. Then I found the latest exchange. Lucas, I don't know what I'd do without you. A few seconds later came Claire's reply. You'll never have to find out. My hand slowly slipped away from the screen. I didn't feel anger. Not yet. What settled inside me was something much heavier. The painful understanding that my biggest rival had never been Lucas. It was the version of Claire who had quietly walked out of our marriage long before I realized I was standing there alone. The hardest part wasn't discovering the truth. It was waking up beside it. Morning sunlight slipped through the curtains, warming only one side of the bed. Claire slept peacefully while my mind replayed the messages I had read just hours earlier. You'll never have to find out. Those 5 words had stolen every excuse I had been holding on to. I quietly got dressed and walked downstairs before anyone else woke up. The coffee tasted bitter. Maybe it always had. I had only been too busy pretending otherwise. A few minutes later, Claire entered the kitchen, still tying her hair into a loose ponytail. You left early. I couldn't sleep. She opened the refrigerator. About last night, I know. Her shoulders relaxed, as if she expected another easy forgiveness. I'll take Lily somewhere this weekend. She deserves it. The words sounded kind. They also sounded like another promise waiting to be broken. You don't have to explain. She blinked. You're not angry? I picked up my coffee. Being angry hasn't changed anything. The quiet answer seemed to confuse her more than shouting ever could. She watched me leave the kitchen without trying to stop me. Work barely held my attention. Every empty minute became another memory. Claire missing dinner. Claire canceling movie nights. Claire laughing at messages she never shared with me. Near lunchtime, my phone rang. Mason, you sound terrible. I've sounded terrible for months. Meet me. I've got work. You've got a life falling apart. 20 minutes later, I was sitting across from him in a small coffee shop. He studied me without speaking. You finally know. I nodded. You knew before I did. I suspected. Why didn't you tell me? He leaned forward. Because every time someone questioned Claire, you defended her harder than she defended your marriage. That one landed. I kept hoping. I know. He pushed a cup toward me. But hope isn't supposed to make you disappear. The words stayed between us. You've lost weight. I've been busy. You stopped playing basketball. I've been tired. You quit seeing your friends. I've been trying to fix my family. Mason slowly shook his head. No. His voice stayed calm. You've been carrying your family while someone else kept dropping their side. I stared through the cafe window. Cars kept moving. People kept laughing. The world looked strangely normal. What do I do now? You stop asking someone to choose you. He folded his hands. You choose yourself. I almost agreed. Then Lily's face appeared in my mind. It isn't just me. I know. He smiled sadly. That's exactly why you need to act. That afternoon I sat inside a quiet law office. Emma Collins welcomed me with a gentle handshake instead of false comfort. I'm sorry you're here. So am I. She opened a notebook. Tell me everything. I explained the missed events, the emotional distance, the messages, the constant attention Lucas received. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she closed the folder. You don't need revenge. I don't want revenge. You need clarity. She slid a list across the desk. Keep records. I glanced down. Financial statements, school records, property documents, communication history. Don't argue. She tapped the page. Don't threaten. Another tap. And don't make decisions because you're angry. What should I make them for? Emma met my eyes. For your daughter's future. Those words settled deep inside me. Not for my pride. Not to punish Claire. For Lily. That evening I unlocked the filing cabinet in my home office. Marriage certificate, birth certificate, insurance papers, bank statements. Everything went into neat folders. The careful organization felt strangely calming, like rebuilding one brick at a time after watching a house crack. Halfway through sorting papers, Claire walked in. What are you doing? Cleaning. She smiled. I wish I had your energy. Her phone vibrated. The smile changed. Warmer. Brighter. She answered the message almost immediately. Lucas? She slipped the phone into her pocket. He's having another rough day. I figured. You don't mind if I check on him later? I stacked another folder. You've already decided. A small crease formed between her eyebrows. I just wanted you to understand. I do. That surprised her again. She expected resistance. Instead, she found acceptance. What she couldn't see was that acceptance and surrender were no longer the same thing. Dinner passed with more silence than conversation. Lily happily described school projects while Claire answered short questions between checking her phone. My daughter noticed. Children always notice. After Claire stepped away to refill her glass, Lily leaned closer. Daddy. Her tiny voice dropped even lower. Can I ask something? Always. She twisted her fork in circles. Why does Mommy smile more when she's texting than when she's eating with us? The room suddenly felt much smaller. I searched for an answer that wouldn't steal her innocence. Sometimes adults get distracted. By people. Sometimes. She frowned. Are we boring? No. The answer came faster than breathing. You are the best part of my life. She smiled. That one smile carried more honesty than every promise Claire had made during the past year. Late that night, I carried an old suitcase into the bedroom. Not to leave. Not yet. Only to prepare. I tucked it behind winter coats inside the closet. Hidden. Waiting. Inside went a few clothes. Copies of documents. Family photos. Nothing else. The zipper closed with a soft sound. It felt like sealing a decision I still wasn't ready to admit aloud. Saturday arrived quietly. Claire spent most of the morning on the phone. Lucas again. Lily and I built a blanket fort in the living room. We laughed until she accidentally knocked over a pillow tower. I think we need stronger walls. We definitely do. She disappeared into her bedroom and returned carrying crayons. I made something. A colorful drawing rested in her hands. 3 smiling stick figures. A bright yellow sun. A tiny red house. Our family. It's beautiful. She studied the suitcase that I had forgotten to push farther back into the closet. Are we going somewhere? Maybe. She carefully folded the drawing. Then this has to come too. Before I could stop her, she slipped it into the side pocket of the bag. So our family comes with us. My throat tightened. I wrapped my arms around her. She hugged me without asking another question. Night settled over the house. Claire kissed Lily's forehead before grabbing her purse. I won't be late. Lily smiled politely. Okay, Mommy. The front door closed. Headlights disappeared down the street. The house became still. A few seconds passed. Then Lily reached for my hand. Her voice was barely louder than a whisper. Daddy. Yes, sweetheart. She stared toward the dark window where Claire's car had vanished. If Mommy likes being somewhere else. A small pause. Can we go somewhere we're wanted? I didn't answer right away. I couldn't, because my daughter had just spoken the truth I had been afraid to face. Her quiet question became the answer I had been searching for all along. The suitcase stood beside the front door before sunrise. I rested my hand on the handle and listened to the quiet house. This place had once been filled with laughter, birthday decorations, bedtime stories, and plans for the future. Now every room echoed with promises that had slowly fallen apart. Lily walked downstairs carrying her favorite stuffed rabbit. "Are we leaving today?" I knelt beside her. "Yes." She searched my face instead of asking where. Then she gave a tiny nod. "Okay." Children do something adults often forget. When they trust someone, they don't always need every answer. Claire had left the night before. Lucas had another emergency, another problem, another reason she couldn't stay home. Her overnight bag was gone. Our family calendar still hung on the kitchen wall. Lily's school events covered one side. Claire's handwritten notes covered the other. I quietly pulled the calendar down. There was no reason to keep pretending we were planning the same future. Emma had already prepared everything. Every document had been reviewed. Every step had been explained. I wasn't running away. I was protecting my daughter while following the law. My phone buzzed. A message from Emma. "Everything is ready. Drive safely. Contact me when you arrive." I typed one word. "Thank you." Before leaving, I walked upstairs one last time. The bedroom door stood half open. The closet looked different. Half of it was already empty. Only my clothes remained. Claire's side still held dresses, shoes, and neatly folded sweaters. I reached into the drawer beside the bed. My wedding ring caught the morning light. I had stopped wearing it days ago. Not because I stopped believing in marriage. Because I couldn't keep wearing a promise alone. The framed wedding photo sat on the dresser. We were smiling at each other. Neither of us knew how our story would change. I placed the ring beside the frame. Then I gently turned the picture face down. Not out of hate. Out of acceptance. Some memories deserved respect. They didn't deserve control over my future. "Daddy." Lily waited in the hallway. "I'm ready." "So am I." She slipped her small hand into mine. Together we walked downstairs. Neither of us looked back. The drive felt strangely peaceful. No arguments. No unanswered questions. Only quiet roads stretching toward a new beginning. Lily watched the trees pass outside her window. "Will my new room have space for my books?" "It will." "And my art supplies?" "Every single one." She smiled. "Can we paint the walls yellow?" "If that's what you want." Her excitement came so naturally that it almost broke my heart. She wasn't afraid of leaving. She was relieved. The small rental house wasn't perfect. The furniture was simple. The backyard needed work. The kitchen felt smaller than the one we left behind. None of that mattered. The air felt lighter. Lily ran from room to room. "This one's mine." "It is." She hugged me so tightly that I almost lost my balance. "I love it." That simple sentence gave me more peace than I had felt in months. Hours later, my phone began vibrating. "Claire." One missed call. Then another. Then another. I watched the screen without touching it. The phone finally stopped. A message appeared. "Where are you?" Another. "Why aren't you answering?" Then another. "Ethan?" I closed the screen. Emma had already told me what to do. All communication would go through her office. Not because I wanted to punish Claire. Because every conversation between us had become another chance for guilt to pull me backward. I blocked her number. Then her private messaging account. Then every social media contact. One by one. Each tap felt heavier than the last. The final screen asked one question. "Delete contact?" My thumb rested there for several seconds. Then I pressed it. Her name disappeared. Years of history reduced to an empty space in my phone. Later that afternoon, Emma called. "She's home." I remained quiet. She found the papers. "What happened?" Emma spoke gently. "Your wife thought you were playing some kind of game. And now, she knows you weren't." I closed my eyes. The image formed inside my mind without needing to see it. Claire opening the front door. Calling my name. Walking into empty rooms. Finding Lily's bedroom without her favorite toys. Opening our closet. Seeing missing clothes. Then reaching the kitchen table. The signed separation papers. the wedding ring, the photo turned face down, a house that no longer answered her voice. That evening, another message arrived through Emma. Claire wanted to speak. I agreed to one phone call with Emma listening. The line connected. Ethan. Her voice sounded different. Not angry. Not defensive. Just shaken. Where's Lily? Safe. A long breath reached my ear. Please let me talk to her. When she's ready. I came home and... Her words stopped. I know. You left. You already left our marriage. I didn't mean... I let the unfinished sentence fade. There wasn't anything left to explain. Lucas was only a priority. No. Then what was he? Nothing came back. Only breathing. I never wanted this. I never wanted our daughter wondering why another man mattered more than her school performance. Another pause. I'll fix it. I waited a long time to hear those words. My voice stayed calm. They arrived too late. Emma gently ended the call. I placed my phone on the table and walked outside. The evening breeze carried the smell of fresh-cut grass. Lily laughed in the backyard while chasing butterflies. That sound reminded me why I had chosen this path. Days passed. Claire kept sending messages through Emma. Most were short. Some were desperate. A few simply asked if Lily was eating well or sleeping enough. Then something unexpected happened. Lucas disappeared. Emma mentioned it during another meeting. Your wife told me he's been difficult to reach. I frowned. What changed? He suddenly became busy. Busy. The same excuse Claire had given me for months. The truth became painfully clear. Lucas had loved having someone rescue him. He had never planned to rescue her. When her life became complicated, he stepped back. The person she kept choosing wasn't choosing her anymore. That night, Emma forwarded one final message. Only 5 words filled the screen. Please, come home with Lily. I read them twice. Then I locked the phone and placed it on the table. Outside my bedroom, Lily slept peacefully in her new home. Inside me, something had finally changed. For so long, every silence between Claire and me had been filled with fear. Fear that she would leave. Fear that I wasn't enough. Fear that holding on was my only choice. Now my silence meant something different. It wasn't punishment. It wasn't revenge. It was the quiet boundary protecting the life my daughter and I were finally beginning to build. I left the message unanswered because my silence no longer protected my pain. It protected my peace. 3 months changed my life more than the previous 3 years ever had. The house that once felt too small now felt peaceful. Laughter returned little by little. Not loud. Not perfect. Just honest. Every morning, Lily rushed into the kitchen with messy hair and endless questions. Can we make pancakes today? Only if you're helping. She grinned and reached for the mixing bowl. I'll even clean up. You've become very convincing. She giggled. I learned from you. Those simple moments reminded me that happiness had never needed expensive vacations or perfect pictures. It only needed people who truly wanted to be there. The yellow paint Lily had chosen finally covered her bedroom walls. Her drawings decorated every corner. Books filled the shelves. Her stuffed rabbits sat proudly on the pillow. One evening I stood by her bedroom door. Ready for bed? She nodded. Then something surprised me. I don't want to sleep anywhere else. You really like your room? She wrapped her blanket around herself. It feels safe. The word stayed with me long after I turned off the light. Safe. Every child deserved to describe home that way. Life found a gentle rhythm. School. Homework. Weekend walks through the park. Movie nights with burnt popcorn because I still couldn't use the microwave properly. Lily laughed every single time. You burned it again. I prefer extra crunchy. She rolled her eyes. That's not how popcorn works. Maybe not. But hearing her laugh made every mistake worthwhile. Mason stopped by one Saturday, carrying 2 pizza boxes. You look different. I smiled. I finally slept through the night. He placed the food on the table. I was talking about your face. My face. You're not waiting anymore. His words settled quietly. He was right. Every sound outside the old house used to make me wonder if Claire was coming home. Every phone call made me hope things would change. Now, I simply lived my life. Hope had stopped pointing backward. Not everything became easy. Some nights Lily still asked difficult questions. She curled beside me on the couch after finishing her homework. "Daddy, I'm listening. Does Mommy still love me?" The television kept playing in the background. Neither of us watched it. More than anything, then why wasn't she around? Children never asked complicated questions. Adults made the answers complicated. I chose honesty without bitterness. Sometimes people make choices they don't understand until it's too late. She thought about that. Can she make better choices now? I hope she does. Not for me. For Lily. Custody meetings began a few weeks later. Emma stayed beside me through every conversation. Claire entered the mediation room looking thinner than I remembered. Dark circles rested under her eyes. She carried herself like someone who hadn't found peace in a long time. She stopped a few feet away. "How's Lily?" "She's doing well." "I'm glad." She wanted to say more. The words never came. The mediator invited us inside. We sat across from each other. The same distance that once existed inside our marriage now stretched across a polished wooden table. Most of the meeting focused on schedules, school, holidays, medical decisions, simple details. Yet every sentence reminded us that our family no longer existed in the same way. Near the end, the mediator asked one important question. "What has this separation been like for Lily?" I answered carefully. "She's happier." Claire lowered her head. "She smiles more." Another pause. "She sleeps through the night." The room stayed quiet. Then the mediator turned toward Claire. "Would you like to respond?" Her fingers tightened around a pen. I never wanted my daughter to feel unwanted. Emma gently slid a notebook across the table. Inside were copies of school notes and counselor observations. Nothing dramatic, just simple facts. Lily had become quieter while living in our old home. She often worried about disappointing her mother. She expected canceled plans before they even happened. Claire slowly read each page. The color faded from her face. I didn't know. The words barely reached the air. I believed her. She truly hadn't known, because she had been looking somewhere else. Weeks later, I learned more about Lucas. Not from gossip. From Claire herself during another meeting. He moved. I stayed silent. He accepted a job in another state. She gave a tired smile that disappeared almost immediately. He didn't even tell me until after he signed the papers. Reality had become cruel enough without my help. "So that's it?" She nodded. I kept making excuses for him. Another slow breath. Then one day, I realized he wasn't making any for me. The truth finally stood in front of her. The man she kept choosing had chosen something else. Friends who once defended Claire also began seeing things differently. One afternoon, Mason mentioned it while helping me fix a fence. "People are talking. I don't care. They finally understand." He tightened another screw. "They thought you overreacted. And now, they saw the messages." I frowned. "What messages?" Claire showed some of them. "I stopped working." "Why?" "Because she wanted people to understand why you left." That surprised me. She wasn't trying to protect her image anymore. She was accepting responsibility. It didn't erase the damage, but it showed she had finally stopped hiding from it. One rainy evening, I opened a storage box in the hallway. Old family photos rested inside. Birthday parties, beach trips, our wedding, Christmas mornings. Pieces of a life that had once felt unbreakable. Lily wandered over. "Can we look?" "Of course." She smiled while pointing at one picture. "I was so little. You loved wearing rain boots everywhere." She laughed. "Even indoors." We shared the memories without pretending they still belonged to the present. When we finished, I closed the box. Some chapters deserved to be remembered. They didn't need to be reopened. A few days before what would have been our wedding anniversary, Emma handed me an envelope after mediation. "This arrived for you." Inside was a greeting card, blank, and signed. No message, no name, only today's date written in the corner. I understood immediately. Claire had bought it. She had planned to write something. She never found the words. I quietly returned it to the envelope. Some conversations had already ended without needing another sentence. The final custody hearing arrived with clear skies and cool morning air. The judge approved our agreement. Lily would spend most of her time with me while continuing regular visits with Claire. Fair, stable, focused on our daughter. Exactly what mattered. As people slowly left the courthouse, Claire stepped beside me. The sunrise painted the windows with soft gold. Neither of us hurried away. I've spent months thinking about everything. I waited. I kept believing love would survive no matter what I did. A sad smile crossed her face. I was wrong. The breeze carried the sound of distant traffic. She held her hands together, as if trying to keep them from shaking. Is there? Her voice nearly disappeared. Still a path back to us? I turned toward the sunrise beyond the courthouse steps. Warm light stretched across the quiet street. The answer had already been waiting inside me for a long time. Before I opened my mouth, I already knew what I was going to say. The answer had been waiting inside me long before Claire asked the question. The sunrise painted the courthouse steps with soft gold. She stood beside me, her hands folded tightly, waiting for hope that no longer belonged to us. Is there still a path back to us? I took a slow breath. The old version of me would have searched for another chance, another promise, another reason to stay. The man standing there had already learned what love looked like when only one person carried it. No. The single word landed gently between us. Not cruel, not angry, simply true. Claire closed her eyes for a moment. A tear escaped before she brushed it away. I understand. I don't hate you. She looked surprised. I spent a long time thinking I needed revenge. I shook my head. But revenge wouldn't give Lily her childhood back. The morning breeze moved through the trees. What I need now is peace. She gave a slow nod. You deserve that. So do you. Neither of us smiled. Some endings weren't meant to feel happy. They were meant to feel honest. A few weeks later we sat together one final time. The divorce papers rested on the polished table. Emma pointed to each page. Everything matches the agreement. I read every line carefully. Nothing felt rushed. Nothing felt unfair. The papers protected Lily first. Everything else came second. Claire quietly signed her name. The pen paused for just a second before she finished the last letter. Then it became my turn. My signature looked steady. That surprised me. Months ago my hands would have been shaking. Now they simply moved forward. Emma gathered the documents. It's finished. I looked toward Claire. She managed a small smile. Take good care of her. I always will. I know. Those words carried no jealousy. Only trust. That mattered more than either of us expected. Co-parenting wasn't perfect. Life rarely is. Sometimes schedules changed. Sometimes Lily forgot her backpack at one house and her favorite sweater at the other. We learned to solve small problems without reopening old wounds. One Saturday, Claire came to pick Lily up. Our daughter ran outside carrying a backpack almost as big as she was. Mommy! Claire knelt and wrapped her in a careful hug. I missed you. I made a painting. I can't wait to see it. Lily reached into her bag. It's for both of us. She unfolded the picture. Two homes. One smiling little girl standing between them. Above the drawing she had written 4 simple words. I am loved everywhere. Claire covered her mouth. I quietly turned away and gave them a moment alone. That drawing healed something no apology ever could. Months continued passing. Claire changed in ways I hadn't expected. She stopped making excuses. She never blamed Lucas. She never blamed me. Whenever Lily talked about school events or birthdays, Claire made sure she arrived early. Not once. Every time. She couldn't rewrite the past. She could only write a better future. I respected that. Respect, however, wasn't the same as rebuilding a marriage. Some bridges remain standing. Others become lessons. One evening I opened a small lockbox inside my closet. My wedding ring rested exactly where I had placed it months earlier. It no longer brought anger, only memory. I held it in my palm for a few seconds. So this is goodbye. The room stayed quiet. I placed the ring back inside the box. Then I locked it, not because I wanted to erase my past, because I no longer needed to carry it every day. The keys slipped into the back of a drawer. Some doors are meant to stay closed. Life slowly filled with new traditions. Saturday pancakes, evening bike rides, board games that Lily somehow always won. Our little home no longer felt temporary. It felt real. One afternoon, Mason stopped by with a camera hanging around his neck. "I've got an idea." I'm almost afraid to ask. "Come outside." Lily rushed into the yard. Picture time. We stood beneath the big maple tree. "Smile." The camera clicked. Lily laughed because a bird flew across the frame. Mason laughed too. One more. This time nobody forced a smile. It happened naturally. A week later, he handed me the printed photo. Lily stood beside me with one arm wrapped around my waist. Both of us looked peaceful. I framed it and placed it on the living room shelf. Not as a replacement for the past, as proof that life could begin again. Almost a year after leaving our old house, another school celebration arrived. As I walked into the auditorium, memories returned without asking permission. The bright lights, the stage, the rows of chairs, the empty seat that had once broken my heart. This time, every important seat was filled before the program even began. I sat beside Mason. Claire sat a few seats away. She had arrived nearly 30 minutes early. When Lily stepped onto the stage, she didn't search the audience. She already knew we were there. Her smile stayed bright from beginning to end. She sang with confidence. She waved after the final song. Not because she worried someone might miss it, because she knew she was loved. The applause filled the room. I clapped until my hands tingled. This time the sound came from joy instead of trying to cover disappointment. After the performance, Lily ran toward us. "Did you like it?" Claire laughed softly. "I loved every second." I knelt beside my daughter. "You were incredible." She threw her arms around both of us. For one brief moment, we stood together as parents. Not husband and wife. Not enemies. Simply two people who loved the same little girl. That was enough. Later that evening, my phone vibrated while I washed dishes. One unread message waited on the screen. "Claire." I stared at the notification. It remained unopened. Not because I feared what it might say, because nothing inside it could change the life I had chosen. Some conversations no longer needed answers. I placed the phone back on the counter and returned to helping Lily dry the plates. She smiled up at me. "You missed a spot. I guess I still need practice." She laughed. "I'll teach you. I believe you." That night, I stood beside Lily's bedroom door. She slept peacefully beneath the yellow walls she had chosen herself. The little family drawing she once placed inside my suitcase still hung above her desk. It reminded me why I had walked away. Years ago, I believed losing my marriage would be the end of my story. I couldn't imagine life beyond that pain. I was wrong. Choosing myself didn't make me selfish. It made me the father my daughter needed. Claire finally understood what she had lost. Some lessons arrived too late to change the ending. I didn't walk away because I won against someone else. I walked forward holding Lily's hand because I finally stopped losing against myself.